gotta be honest, guys, I am feeling so disconnected from myself today, which is like something that happens to all of us. I gotta be honest about it. I'm holding myself accountable and still putting myself out there to give you guys this free training today, because what I have to talk about and like what I feel really truly inspired to broadcast out there today is a really, really important topic. And even though I'm kind of feeling off and out of my element, I'm jumping into this video today to give you guys everything that you really need to know about it. I'm stuttering on my words. Does anybody like notice that? And I'm never like this. I'm always so connected. So I'm gonna just pretend like I'm jumping into this and I'm feeling really good because I am so tired. And today I'm jumping on to talk about confidence. So even though I'm feeling insecure and I'm feeling a little bit out of my natural game today, I'm still talking about this topic. And I'm gonna give you guys this strategy that has worked for me time and time again on how to rebuild your confidence when you feel like you're stuck at rock bottom, how to reestablish your sense of worth, and go out and be that person that you've just been truly hungry to be without giving a shit about what other people think. So let me take you back a minute, because the idea of how this video came into play today is really important. Last night I had a friend come over and visit my new home here in Connecticut, and it's a friend who I have not seen for like 7 years. Okay, really, I'm not exaggerating, I am so real. The last time I saw her was 7 years ago. Now my life in the past 7 years has drastically changed. And before she came to visit me, I started really thinking about, well, how does my friend, this friend who I've kind of stayed in contact with, how does she remember me? Like, where was I at that point in my life, right? You guys ever think back to like a place where you were 7 years ago or 3 years ago or 2 years ago and you feel like so disconnected from that person? Like it almost feels like who you used to be is like a stranger, right? Give me a like or a heart if you know what I'm talking about, if that disassociation is something you can relate to. But for me, it was like a really big thing. And she was coming to my house and I'm like, oh my God, this girl remembers me as like this rock bottom sad girl. And it was almost like shocking for me to remember that. Now keep in mind, you know, social media is great because you're constantly connected to, you know, what's going on in people's lives right now, because they're constantly posting videos, and you know, you'll see all my blog posts on whatisperfection.com, so you know like what's going on in my life. And I knew she would know too, so I wasn't really too worried about that. But having that big shock of like flashing back in my head and thinking about, whoa, 7 years ago, that's where I was. And I remember being in this place where I was so deeply insecure about myself, my identity, who I was. I had no idea how to feel good. I had no idea how to be in my own skin and like it. I mean, that's just really like what it boils down to. I felt like I was never good enough for the things I wanted in my career. I felt like I was never gonna have a relationship that was full of love. I mean, I'm really sitting here and thinking about all of those emotions I was feeling 7 years ago when I was this girl that my friend knew back then. It's even hard for me to imagine now. Like, I was such a different person. And to know that I came from this place of like rock bottoms. I mean, I have suicides, I have eating disorder struggles, I have all of these attempts to end my life or call it quits from, you know, the process of achieving my dreams. I had done all of that. And now here I am, this person that's so different. It's just like, it's a shock to me. And it's not because I'm special, it's not because I'm unique, and it's not because I have some sort of like magical power that nobody else has. It's because I have taken a really long time perfecting the art of transformation as a life coach and a breakthrough leader. Like, that is something I've done my whole entire life, and it's something I want to share with the world. So let's talk about it today, guys, all right? Let's dive into the topic of confidence. I'm gonna give you guys what I call the real deal breakdown on how to create confidence. And this is not like the bullshit confidence of like, I'm phony pretending to feel good about myself, I'm faking it till I make it. I mean, I see so many life coaches teaching that, and that's not, it never did anything for me, and I'm guessing it probably won't do anything for you. But this is the fundamental breakdown of how to create confidence in your life. And they're really simple steps, guys. So if you're on this video listening, if you're excited to learn how to create confidence, get out that pen and paper and start taking notes. This is the real deal concept, okay, for confidence. And these are steps. And the first step is to, and this is really important, remember who you are, okay? A lot of the times when we're struggling to feel good about ourselves, it's because we are disconnected from what it is we want, what makes us us, and what makes us feel good about ourselves, okay? We get disconnected because we're focused on things like, well, what do other people think, right? What are they gonna say? Will these people approve? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? We start asking all these crazy questions that we will never be able to get answered. And we get stuck in this limbo of doubt and insecurity. So instead of focusing on the other people around you, first step in building that confidence is to remember who you are and look inward and start asking yourself, what values and qualities do you have that make you of worth? What values do you place on things like relationships and connection and growth and change and contribution? Like, where do you value those things in your life? Because the more you have a good understanding of who you are, right? A lot of us don't feel confident because we don't know who we are. We feel lost in our identity. And the more we can get clear about that, the more we can better understand who we are and whether or not we want to embrace or accept ourselves. And that's really a huge light bulb moment for so many of us. I could tell you on my own journey, it wasn't until I went through the process of self-transformation and really reflecting on, well, who am I? What is it that I want? What makes me happy? It wasn't until I started asking those questions that everything changed. So again, that first step, guys, is remembering who you are and re-identifying your wants, your needs, your values, your hungers, what makes you you. I don't care if you have to do that by joining a program or signing up for a life coach or buying a journal and writing a fuck ton of answers and questions. I mean, I have a bunch of workbooks on the website if you want to check those out. Self-reflection is always like a great tool in the process of figuring out who you are. If you don't know who you are, you can't, no wonder you don't feel good about yourself. You have no fucking clue what makes you you. You're so disconnected from it. So really honing that in and figuring out who you are and what makes you of worth or value or your identity is really the first step. That second step is to evaluate your priorities and what is important to you. So if we're placing importance on what other people think of us, right? Whether or not we're gonna fail or succeed, whether or not we feel safe and certain, whether or not we feel significant based on other people's opinions of us, we are setting ourselves up for a miserable life, guys. We will never be secure. We will never be confident. We will never be successful. We will never have that life that we truly deserve because we are not prioritizing the things that are important, that create fulfillment, that create happiness. We're focusing instead on things like other people's expectations, other people's wants, other people's needs. Whether or not we're gonna live in fear is a huge part of the process of transformation and really building your self-confidence. So when you find yourself stuck in places where you look at yourself and you're wondering like, well, how do I like this, right? You feel like a failure, you feel like you're not of worth, you feel insecure, you feel like you're not capable of being loved. The really big part of changing that is recognizing that you have priorities that make you of worth, and you need to get clear about what those are. So again, first step is remembering who you are. Evaluating your priorities is number 2, guys. Really awesome step, really big process of self-love and self-transformation. And then that third thing is to affect your thoughts, okay? We're going through the real deal process of creating confidence, guys. You need to recognize that everything that you feel, think, and experience is within your control. Oftentimes when we are not secure and we are not feeling good about ourselves, we're really in that insecure mode, right? We're placing responsibility for our lives in the hands of other people. And that's a huge problem, guys, because when we don't feel confident, we don't make decisions. And decisions, the more you make them, the more confident you become. So the opposite is true too. When you're not doing things to make yourself feel good, when you're not doing things to build your confidence, you lower your confidence, you stop making decisions. It's like you're constantly growing in one direction or the other direction. And if you're not building your self-confidence, you're losing your self-confidence. So getting clear about the thoughts that you have is a huge decision maker on which path you go on, guys, okay? I'll give you an example. When you are in a position where you're feeling like you are, let me see, I gotta make sure this is a good example, so I'm gonna think about this one. Affecting your thoughts. If you're in a position where you are constantly trying to achieve something and you feel like you can't, first of all. Your thoughts are going to prevent you from actually succeeding. If you're in a position where you feel like all men cheat, all men lie, all men hurt me, that's all you're gonna be attracting into your life. Affecting your thoughts and really analyzing, well, what is it that I'm thinking on a regular basis? If they're negative vibes, guys, you're only gonna be attracting more of those negative vibes. So you need to change your approach. And you need to get clear about what you are thinking and why you're thinking it and what you want to think instead. The more we focus on negativity, the more we attract it into our lives, and really analyzing that mindset is a huge breakthrough. You know, it is not the experiences that we have that dictate our future, right? This is a common phrase that I always use. It's not our experiences that dictate our future, it's how we interpret them. Because when you go through a tragic experience, for example, one person might look at that and say, life's always gonna be miserable. I'm never gonna be happy. I can never create the life I deserve. And they go on this mind game of like, never, 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 life sucks, life sucks, life sucks. And instead, another person who may go through a traumatic experience might look at this and say, hey, I'm gonna fucking rise above it. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to overcome this. I'm gonna write a book about this. Like, your mind affects which path you head on, right? So really be clear about those thoughts, what you're thinking on a regular basis. Are you are you that person who goes in the mirror and is like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I look, let me nitpick everything? Are you paying attention to what the problem is, or are you focused more on the things that bring you joy, right? Now, the last and final step for this real deal building self-confidence strategy that I always use is to let go of what other people think. Now, this is huge, guys. You need to lose your fear and let go of all of that negative doubt that you have in your head, all of that insecurity of what other people think. Because the more you focus on that, the less action you will take in your life, the less of a decision maker you will be for your future, the more you let other people dictate where you're going, and the less likely you are to really create that authentic, abundant life that you truly deserve. I mean, I can't tell you, like, back then when I was thinking about, you know, my friend who was coming to visit and what she remembered me by, I was that person who really made decisions based on other people 24/7. 24/7, like what I wore, how I dressed, how I act, how I smiled, like everything was dictated by other people and what I saw other people doing. Because I thought if other people were doing it, then that was right. And then I would be happy like them, right? And that's not the case. It's not the case at all. It's so far from the truth, because the more you try to connect with yourself by being something that you're not, the more impossible it is to connect with yourself. You're never gonna feel good about this, guys, unless you really align yourself with the values that come naturally to you, the beliefs you have organically, and really connecting to the life it is you want for yourself. When you know what your values are, you know what you want in your life, and you can look at those things and really separate the outside world from it and let go of that what other people think mindset, you're on the pathway to success for real, like 100%. So I want you to really, if you're jumping on this video now, go back and rewind and listen to this training. It's the real deal success for happiness, and it walks you through the confidence strategy step by step, because I want all of you guys to feel good. I want you to take that massive action and start creating the life that you truly deserve. We can all get there, for real.